welcome everybody to the SkyPoint Get the 20K call. Today's date is April the 6th, and we have a great guest today that's going to be sharing some good nuggets with us today. And his name is Michael Sandman. So Michael, just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. See you already on the road, probably in between appointments. Taking time out to share with the team this morning. So I just want to appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much for letting me be on here. I actually, when you texted me and said, asked me to be on here, I was like, there's no way I'm about to be on the 20K, get the 20K call with Stephen Yee. I was like, that's insane. So yeah, man, it's actually an honor to be on here, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Like I said, it's crazy, like you said, you just don't realize just the work that you just do on a daily basis, how it inspires others, and that's what, definitely drew us to you. Just seeing what you were doing is like, man, let's go, talk to him, see what he's got up his sleeve, right?
Yes, sir.
But nah, man, again, appreciate you. And, we'll just jump kind of like right into it. Kind of had a chance to speak with you a little bit last night. And so, you went over some things that really, I think that everyone on this call, everyone in this company can just benefit from, from hearing. So let's talk about a little bit, your start, what did you do before, that transition, that you talked about, moving from Louisiana to Florida, just let's talk about that beginning, because you wasn't in insurance from the start. So, how did your start?
Yes, sir. 100%. So, yeah, I guess just to dive straight into it, last year, me and my brother decided that we were going to move down from Louisiana. We were just going to figure something out. The year leading up till my 18th birthday, I told myself I was just going to get out of Louisiana. That definitely wasn't for me. There was nothing to do. I mean, the food's good there, but other than that, there's nothing there. So me and my brother, we just wanted to basically start a whole new life for ourselves. So we picked a spot on the map, literally just came down to Tampa, put everything in a U-Haul, everything we ever knew, and just came down here. We slept. We actually got kicked out of a couple parking lots because we couldn't find anywhere to stay. But because we didn't have no proof of income, we didn't have a job, COVID just hit. People were telling us this was the worst decision of our lives. It was just so much adversity against us. But I guess actually getting down here and finding jobs, doing different things, it was actually a lot easier than I thought. I didn't have any support from our parents. We just had to make something work. We ended up finding my brother he found a job, and it was something small. It was like $300 a week. And the guy had a room at his old house that he let us stay at in the back, and you didn't have to commit to a lease or nothing. So we stayed there for about 3 months, and then I got another job working at a sewer company, getting on top of roofs. Man, it's the middle of July in Florida. So I'd done that for about a month. I was like, man, this sure ain't for me. So my friend told me a little bit about how he was doing some life insurance, and I really looked into it. I was like, man, you can set your own schedule. You can unlimited income. You can have residuals. All the different things about it really drew me to it. And I knew I was young, but I knew I had to do something different, right? I mean, $300 a week doesn't get you far. No. So after quitting that job, I looked in. My dad was on Indeed, or he was on LinkedIn. And he saw like a ad of like Family First Life, like make 6 figures your first year. And obviously that'll turn anybody's attention that's only making, I don't know, 20K a year. So when he told me about it, I looked up our local office here in Tampa. It just so happened 6 days. It was so crazy. 6 days after I looked it up was the time that the grand opening was here in Tampa. And so when I called up Eric Anthony, he said he didn't answer. I left him a voicemail, and he called me back within about 30 minutes, and he said, meet me in my office in an hour. And I talked to people previously from other companies, and nobody was that aggressive. So I knew something was different. I was like, man, there's something different about this guy. So I looked it up on my GPS. It was about 20 minutes away. I met him at his office. Long story short, he paid for everything, my fingerprints, license, everything, got me some leads. It was a super awesome. It was insane. I didn't even know, because before I was going to get my test before, And then the other guy from the other company was going to make me pay for it. And Eric was like, dude, I'll pay for everything. Doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to pay for it. All I need you to do is just work. I was like, wow, man, this is definitely something different. And I remember walking in and I was seeing all the different the starting compensation. I was like, man, 90%. I was like, man, I can't wait to start at 90%. He's like, no, you know what? Matter of fact, we're going to start you at 100. I was like, man, okay, yeah, this is definitely where I need to be. So, man, about 2 weeks later, it took me a couple weeks to actually get in the field because we had some complications with my license. Finally got it all figured out. And my first full month was October. And then, yeah, man, it's just been amazing ever since. I never dreamed of actually having an opportunity where you can go out in a weekend and make, I don't know, you can make 5 to 10 grand and it's deposited on Tuesday. Like, especially not to the level that FFL does it at. And you don't have to have 100K in student loans. But yeah, man, it's just kind of a background on where me and my brother came from. But yeah, man, it's been a long journey thus far, but I really am super excited that this opportunity was introduced to me.
Man, I mean, and like I said, when you told me that story last night, I was like, wow. So, a lot of times you understand, like, certain people are just destined for greatness. And you have to take risks in order to get there. And that's what you and your brother did, packing up and leaving home. You took a big risk, and, look where you're at now. So, on the way to greatness, right? So
yes, sir, 100%.
Let's talk about. Yeah, let's talk about. So you started in October, I think. So you didn't just bust it right out of the gate, right? You didn't just start writing 30, 40K right out of the gate. Let's talk about that, the first 3 months, because we kind of talked about that last night. How did that go? What was the mindset going through those first 3 months?
Yeah, so when I first started, man, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not talented. Because, man, there's people that I see posts on Facebook sometimes like, oh, first month 50K. It's like, what? Man, when I came in, I was like, dude, I couldn't even, like, even if they wanted it, I couldn't sell it. Like, it was so bad. I couldn't book any appointments. It was so it all started with I had $3.52 in my account when I started. So obviously I had no money for leads. There was no, that wasn't even an option. But I still remember Eric gave me about 150 old leads. They were like a year old, whatever. I mean, they were new to me. I was excited. I was like, let's go. And I had no money for gas. So what I would do is I would DoorDash after the appointments. I remember DoorDash until I would DoorDash to like 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And so I could have enough money for gas to go out the next day. And dude, that went on for the first 2 to 3 months because I was really, really bad. But I knew there was just no way out. It was either going to go back. It was either going back to the sewer company and getting on top of roofs, messing with sewer cables. I was like, man, that's not even an option. I'm not going back to Louisiana. I just have to make this work. So I feel like, honestly, I could have fixed a lot of the things that I'd done when I started. What I did was I wasn't reaching out in the home. That's one that literally killed me, because if you're making the same mistakes over and over again, you can't improve, right? Because you don't know what you're doing wrong. So from then, it was like after like my second, third month, the first month, I don't even know. I wrote like a couple policies. My second month was the same thing, but it was just enough to get by. And I was doing really bad. So main thing, what I fixed, because when I started, I would come into the office, and this is something that I'm sure a lot of us do, but I was really bad. I mean, I was 18 years old. I was like, man, there's no other 18-year-old doing this. There's no way I'm going to make this work. And I just had all these excuses for myself. And Eric was like, dude, you can either make these excuses and not work, or you can use yourself as being 18. You could be the youngest Hall of Fame producer, or you could be the youngest board member. I was like, man. So I started looking at it in perspective, like he wanted me to look at it. And I would come into the office. I would get in the office at like 8:30. I would leave at like 11. I would go home with 2 appointments, go out the next 2 days, get no showed. It was a total wreck. Yeah. So when the turning point was December. I remember I came into the office. I was like, Mike, you ain't made no money. There's other people coming in here. They're crushing it. There's so many people doing this that you can make this work. So I told myself, from here on out, I'm just going to dial from 7:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night. No matter what, I don't care if I've made 700 dials. No matter what, I'm going to do that. I was terrible on the phone, but I knew even being bad on the phone, I knew I could at least get 10 appointments if I'm gonna dial for 14 hours, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I done. I did that. From then on out, I said I'm not leaving until I have like 15 to 18 appointments, and I'm gonna do that. Obviously, if I get them by lunchtime, I'm gonna leave. But that was never me. I was never that good.
Yeah.
So yeah, every single dial day, even to now, I'm not that good on the phone. I'm just willing to dial for that time, and I feel like that's what shifted from the first couple of months being really, really bad and not working to setting my mindset to I'm going to dial the phone. And like everybody says, this business is 95, like 80% phones. And it really is. Like, I was like, man, that don't make no sense. But when I started doing that, December was my breakout month. I did like 20K in December. And I was like, wow, that's what I need to do is just dial and buy more leads. Obviously, I would never bought enough leads because I didn't have enough money because I wasn't booking enough appointments. But I feel like that's when it really shifted. Was like my third month when I really, really focused on not cheating myself out on dial day because there's nothing more important. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if the world's ending from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. You just have to dial no matter what. And that's what I've put into my head now. And I also have really, really good mentors. They're on me. It's like, there's no sleeping in. There ain't no sleeping in till lunchtime anymore. It's making sure we get up on dial day and put in the work. Because if you have the appointments, you're not going to go to the appointments. You're going to go. So what I do now is I actually book 8 a.m. appointments every single day. And they're like an hour and a half away. So it forces me to get up at like 6 o'clock and then leave by 6:30. So it's just really helped with being more disciplined is really dialing the phones. But just back to what I was saying, man, that's when I really felt like it shifted was just being way more disciplined on the phones. That's where everything changed. It's like any new agent, any type of advice that I would give is just literally just put the time in on the phone, literally triple your production.
Again, I tell people all the time, the phone is where the money resides, right? The money resides on the phone, so why would you not be on the phone? But
Yeah.
but it does take a mind flip, right? You have to flip to get there, and you did that, and it just took you being tired. You got tired of being tired. Like I'm not making nothing. I got to make something happen, and you finally flip that switch. So good. I mean, good stuff, man. So you were able to fight through the adversity and then look where you're at now. So let's talk about lead flow. So I know the only way that you're able to go out and produce like you're doing now, that means that your lead flow is probably diverse. You're not just running one lead type. What are you doing with leads?
Yeah. So with leads, okay, and I'll be the first to tell you that man, that was another thing. I had to fix a lot of things, man. I could tell, like, man, I just had to fix so many things. So yeah, first one was the phone. Second one was lead flow. When I first started, man, I was buying these. Okay, so I didn't have no money, so I was buying when I would sell a policy, I would buy like these Facebook leads for like I don't know, they're like 25, $30 a piece. And not to get me wrong, Facebook leads are amazing. All leads are good, but that was just not working for me because you have to buy a minimum of 20 and the minimum investment is $400. So I would sell a policy for 600 over like 600 AP, get advanced 400, buy these leads for $400. I would have 20 leads. I had 5 of them that were too far. The other 5 would tell me to just go jump off a bridge, and then the other 10, I might book 3 to 5, and then I might sell 1 or 2. It was so bad. So that was my first mistake, was doing that. Which Facebook leads, when you have the capital, they are very, very they're really, really good leads, but it shifted from buying 50, 30, 20 Facebook leads for $400 and going into the CRM and buying 100 1-month internet life leads for $4 a piece. And if you have 100 leads, it is my little 8-year-old brother. Anybody can do it, right? It doesn't even matter. So that was what shifted as far as lead flow. So when I started, I was terrible at lead flow, obviously. And so I shifted to start buying like 100 leads a week. And I told myself, Mike, the disconnect the numbers, the people that told you no, and the people that told you to go jump off a bridge, you're going to go door knock them. So that's what I told myself. So either get a no on the phone and a no in the home. And when you're starting, if you resolve 100 leads, you're going to make like 5 to 10 grand, no matter what. If you tell yourself you're going to resolve every single lead, I mean, you can book 10 to 15 appointments and then you resolve the rest. So that was what really changed, was lead flow. was buying more leads and buying a larger quantity rather than quality. Obviously, quality leads are good, but not everybody has the capital, such as myself. I didn't have the capital for that. So even up to this day, I mean, even writing what I've wrote thus far, it's been FEX. Like, I'm not getting new mortgage mailers in. Like, I just started a campaign like 2 weeks ago for the first time. That's another thing. I was telling myself, Michael, you'll never do 30K with only FEX. You'll never do that. And it's all in my head. That's all it is. That's with a lot of people. It's just in their mind. And that was the main thing, was just shifting to buying more leads and investing more in myself. And obviously I saw Mike Killamette said, whoever spends the most makes the most. And honestly, that's true, because I spend 300 on leads. I might make $2,000 that week, 2 to 3 grand. But if I spend 2 grand on leads, I ain't gonna make nothing less than 8 to 10 grand. So that was the thing, was just buying more leads and obviously being consistent on the phone and going in the dial day, knowing that you have 100 good leads. You want to dial rather than not buying enough leads, not having money to buy leads, and not working hard enough to actually have the capital to buy leads. So that was the main thing, was just shifting and buying a larger quantity rather than buying like Facebook leads, which that's where my production, I feel like, tripled, because I was just buying more leads. And you have a million people to door knock, right? I mean, it's not like you have 20 Facebook leads and 5 of them are too far, and then you're door knocking 5 and the other 10 done told you no. Like, and you've done invested $400. But yeah, I mean, that was the main thing, buying more leads as far as quantity wise, because the CRM has a million internet life leads. Something that really, really helped me was, it's a website called fastpeoplesearch.com. The reason why they're 1 month leads a lot of times are because they're either disconnecting numbers or it was a wrong address. So I'd go to fastpeoplesearch.com, plug in their first name, their last name, and the city that they currently live in. And it would show me their updated address, their updated phone number, and it'd be like 1 digit off sometimes. And it's just because they filled out the form, just like I said, 1 digit off on their phone number. I would call them, nobody's called them, and you immediately book the appointment because nobody's ever called them, and they're exclusive to you. You go out and make $1,000-1,500, and that's what really changed, was just putting more effort into the leads that I bought and actually buying a larger quantity and dialing for a longer period of time.
Man, your story sounds so much like mine. When same thing, I started with FEX on Facebook. But once I flipped the switch on what you're talking about, which I like to call it, from Jonathan Porcina and the other guys, stacking the deck in your favor, right?
Exactly, 100%.
So that's what you started doing. That's what I did. Just was able to stack the deck in my favor, let me get more leads, and then that fast people search, man. Like that's my best friend. It's saved on my phone. I could show it right on. It's saved on, right? Because that has made me, more money than I don't say more money than booking appointments, but it's very close. Because when you get in those appointments, like you said, if no one else took the time to track them down, when you get them on the phone or you get in front of them, they're like, nobody, I've been waiting. Right? I'm ready.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, 100%.
So you fixed your phone, you're dialing, you fixed your lead flow. All right. So let's talk about in-home. I mean, what is your in-home like? Is it
so
are you in there long, or you're in and out pretty quick?
So when I started, okay, I'm gonna be completely up, man. I was just a mess, man. It's just crazy to think about how far I'm honestly proud of myself. Honestly, I really am, because I was bad, man. I'm telling you, like, I was probably the worst agent to come into FFL. Knowing that I can do it, dude, I'm telling you, bro. There's not a single person that can't do this. I was 18 years old. I had to make something work, and I made it work, even coming from me not being talented in the slightest, not even knowing how to dial the phone, buying leads, in-home, nothing. So with in-home, when I started, man, it was just no structure.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. We good.
Okay, great. Yeah, it kind of cuts out for a second. Okay. So when I started, man, I would tell you I was a total wreck. I had no structure. I didn't do it. I wasn't. And another thing was like going into these homes, being such a young guy, I was like, man, they're not going to buy from me. They think I'm just some punk kid walking in their house, not selling them. And that was all in my mind, 100% in my mind, because when it shifted from telling myself that to they requested this and they need this, And if you show them that you care, you can, you can protect that family. And that's what shifted in my head. So we're from going into the house, man, being an hour and a half in, and then they telling me that they need to think about it. And then I'm trying to push them, and then they kick me out. It was a total wreck. So now, I mean, it's obviously a lot has changed. My in-home now is pretty simple. I'm usually try to be in and out. If we can't get on the same page within the first 10, 15 minutes, then I try to leave, because obviously there is other people that do want to protect their families. And that's what I try to actually set the table up front. It's like, look, I work with about 30 different carriers. There's two things that won't get in the way today. It's budget and health. If you allow me to protect you, we can do so. If not, there's other people that are serious about this, and I can go help them. So just kind of saying that up at the front, they kind of know that you're serious, and you're not there to talk with them. You're not there to be their friend. You're there to protect their family. And I heard something from Wayne Carr. Wayne Carr said the same thing. I was like, man, I would get in the house and they would tell me they need to think about it. Well, before you even start, say, look, I'm not the quote guy. I'm not the guy that gives out quotes. That's just not me. You can go on Google and find that, because all the companies are public. You can find quotes anywhere. I'm the guy that protects your family. And being way more straightforward and taking a lot more control is what really improved my in-home. Because, man, I tell you what, like I said, when I started, I'd be in there for 2 hours. Yeah. Then I would ask him for a voided check. Like, boy, I won't be giving you that. And I would leave without it. And I would just be so frustrated. And I'd done that for weeks and weeks. Yeah. I was like, man, what am I doing wrong? So that's what I've done. Watched a lot of in-home. I mean, Stephen Yee's in-home is probably the best in the business. All of them. They're amazing. And so I just started watching a lot more videos, just kind of telling them that there won't be any thinking about it going on today. We will be making a decision whether you want to protect your family or you don't. So that's what the main thing is, setting the table for myself, because being so young was something that even to this day, man, I still have butterflies in my stomach walking up and knocking on that door. But walking in knowing that you show them that you care, and you can actually tell them, like, sometimes you have to ask them, like, look, Mark, your wife, you die and you're the only breadwinner, and she's screwed. Like, the house is gone, or she ain't gonna have the money to pay for the burial. And actually telling him that and showing him that you can, obviously not being rude, but telling him that, and more of a caring attitude is really, really helped me, man. Was just completely eliminating the thought of I'm just too young, and putting it into perspective as I'm going to leave this house, making sure that this family's protected. And just kind of, it was really just mindset. For in-home, it was 100% mindset. With on the phones and buying leads, that's just being disciplined. But in the home was 100% mindset. Was just shifting my mindset to, I'm going to make sure that I help this family regardless of whether obviously you can't close them all, right? But really just showing them that you care, and not walking in with commission breath and just trying to get a check and leave, because that's just called a chargeback. So that was the main thing. Just with my in-home was just shifting to the right mindset and showing them that I really cared for them. When you show a client that you care, a lot of times they see that, and regardless of whether they really wanted it or they didn't, a lot of times they will proceed with the process, which is something that really helped me with shifting my mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
So plain and simple. If you show them that you're there to help them, and you have other families to help, as well. So, and set that table right, and because I used to make the same mistake, in the beginning, going in, being there for 2 hours, talking about the grandkids, everything, getting into the friend zone. And then, like you said, that's for the check, and they're like, that's the last thing I'm giving you today, right?
Man, I cannot tell you how many times I probably walked out in my first 2.5 months, I walked out of more homes without a check, man, because I didn't set the table. I didn't tell them what I was, just sitting there trying to make money, man. I was just trying to pay my bills, man. But and then I was like, I got to talking to other top producers. That's another thing, man.
Yes.
Reach out to somebody that's actually producing. That's what I started doing. I was like, man, I mean, the guy that's doing 10K a month, man, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's more money than most Americans make. But you kind of want to learn from the dude that's doing 60, 70K a month, because I've never done that. And that's where I want to be. So that's who I'm going to learn from. I want to do 100K a month. I'd probably reach out to Steven Giordano. You know what I'm saying? So that was the main thing, reaching out to people that are already doing it because they know what to fix. They know what you need to fix and they know what you're doing wrong so they can help you fix it. So that was the main thing, just reaching out and really trying to get some help from other people that were actually experiencing the success that they were.
No, that's what's up. And like I said, always reaching out, but not just reaching out, reaching up. Reach up.
Yes.
To people that's already gone down the path that you're trying to blaze at this time as well. So, man, I'm trying to think, man. You pretty much hit. So tell me this. So let's talk about let's talk to Michael Sandman back in October. When you first started, if you could, give yourself one pointer starting over again as a new agent, what would that be?
Yeah, 100%, man. With that, oh my goodness, it would take me all day. I have a lot of different things that I would have changed. First off, is obviously being more disciplined on the phone. If I would have started, because I would wake up. This was me when I started. I would wake up at like 7:50. I live 20 minutes away from the office. I would it would take me like 15 minutes to get to my car. I'd get in my car. I'd be at the office at like, I don't know, I'd be at the office about like 8:10. I would sit down I would get down by, man, it was just a wreck, man. I would get to dialing by like 8:40 and it would be like 11 o'clock. I would have 3 appointments. I was devastated. I would leave, go home. The next day I'd have 3 appointments. I get no-showed twice. Last person told me they didn't want to give me man, it was a total wreck. So one is being dialing literally no matter what, 7:30 to 9:30 dial. I mean, obviously if you get 20 appointments by noon, I mean, I stop, right? I mean, you can help other people do what you need to do, but if you get but that's not me. I'm usually done by like 5, 6, depending on how good my lead flow is that day. But number one is definitely dialing the phones and being way, way more disciplined to the Mondays and Thursdays, 8 a.m. to like 1 p.m. dial time, because that's the golden time to dial. That, and second, buying more leads, obviously. I mean, I didn't buy enough leads, man. I would completely ring out all my leads. I'm talking about, I would call them. I don't even know. Obviously, calling people a lot is good, because one day when I was leaving at lunchtime, Eric Sr., he said, "Hey man, where you going?" I said, "Man, I've done dialed all my leads." He said, what are you talking about? He's like, "You need to dial every single one of them 27 times. I said, 27 times? I said, "Man, they're going to call the police. They're going to report me." He said, "No, Mike, they really need it." And literally that really changed, man. Just the other day, I called this woman, and one day I called her 12 times, and on the 13th time she answered, and I booked the appointment. So just being persistent with these people, and because they really need it. They really, really do need this, because nobody would fill out a 17-step form online or in the mail if they didn't need this coverage. Because I mean, I personally, I would never fill out no form. I'm sure you wouldn't either. But that's what I would tell myself is, man, I just don't know. Like, that's the main thing. You do not have to be good in the home. You don't even have to be good on the phone. You do not. Like, I'm living proof of that. I'm still, to this day, I'm not even good on the phone. I'm not even good in the home. I'm literally, all I do is dial from 7:30 in the morning. The other, like, literally 2 dial days ago, got there at like 7 a.m. and it was like almost 9:30 when I left. And I had to do it though, because I know if I have 15 appointments for the next 2 days, there's going to be, if you have 30 appointments, how everybody says 25% of everybody has checks on their foreheads, no matter what. Yeah. So 30%. And so if you have 30 appointments, you'll typically sit with about 20. That's just on average. Yeah. And then 25% of 20 is 5 policies. The average policy is $1,000. You're making $5,000 a week. And that's just putting in the time dialing. That's all you got to do. So it's really, really that. And simplifying that to myself was what really changed the game for me, was because just like, Mike, all you got to do is book 30 appointments a week. And in order to get 30 appointments, you got to have enough leads. And in order to have enough leads, you got to make sure that you're on top of these leads, buying the leads in the area, traveling. Like, man, I traveled 2 hours. Like, I'm like 2 hours away from home right now. But I mean, you just got to be willing to travel, buy the leads, and make the phone calls. So just back to what you said earlier, man, what I would tell myself when I started was just, man, buy more leads, make more dials, book more appointments, man. I would have made a lot more money in the beginning.
Right. Man, I mean, that's just great information, man. I'm looking at the comments, everybody calling you a beast. This is great. I'm telling you, man, like for real, like it's crazy, for you to be, your age. And I hate to even talk about that because age really ain't nothing but a number. And I mean, you're just proving that, that anybody, literally anybody can do this. I got a question. Looks like let me read one of the questions here we got from Terrence here.
Sorry.
What do you do when you set proper structure and still get, I want to think about it at the end?
Yeah, so when that happens to me, because obviously that still happens, right? Occasionally that happens. It's definitely decreased the think about it, but obviously you still always get it, right? Oh, I still want to think about it. I got to talk to my kids. Anytime and another thing, when I start, I try to hold myself to the 10 question rule, because this is what I done when I started. Walk in the house, man, I would go straight into the financial inventory and I would be quoting them, and then I'd be asking for a check. They didn't even know what was going on. They were like, dude, what are you even, bro, just get out of my house. Like, I was like, man, what? So now it's really, really not proceeding with the process until you legitimately figure out why they filled it out.
Yeah.
So I hold myself to I try to hold myself to like a 10 question rule. For me, that's what's just I had to do, because I would get in there. Why'd you fill this out? Oh, I want to protect my family. And then I would just proceed. So now I'm like, okay, perfect. So you were wanting to protect, like, I would just be like, which kid are you trying to protect? You trying to protect all of them? Maybe your oldest, maybe just a brother, sister. And then they would tell me that, okay, perfect. Where do they live? Oh, they live in Washington State. Okay, so you live down here in Florida. And how many kids do they have? Oh, they have 3 kids. Okay, do they both work full-time jobs? Yeah, they do. Okay, great. Do their kids go to school? Oh, they go to school as well. Okay, great. So what does that look like for if something happens to you and you got $100,000 mortgage and they have to fly their kids down and take care of your house on top of your burial, on top of not even knowing where the funds are going to be to take care of that?
Yeah.
So really, really just pulling out that why for me was setting better structure. And once I said that, obviously that decreased the think about it at the end, but obviously we still get it. So back to what the question was, is when they did tell me they want to think about it, I just go back and I elaborate on the why. I'm just like, look, okay, so you kind of told me that it's burial in the state of Florida is anywhere from 10 to 30,000. And due to inflation, prices, I want to safely assume they're not going down. So they're increasing. Obviously, the older you get, you decide to do this 5 years, 10 years from now, it's probably going to be double than you probably have some other health conditions, and you could possibly have a 2-year waiting period. So really just scaring them with all the different things and just showing them, look, we're going to do something to because you procrastinated up to this point. I asked them a lot of times, like, Mary, what was maybe you know what? Yeah, I don't know. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, I know I need this. So just kind of going back to the why, and then obviously you can't close everybody. You go back to the why. You can be, I don't know, you can be Steven Giordano, not close them, right? No, there's 25% of them that they'll never buy no matter what. But the other 50% that did tell you, yeah, look, I'm just want to think about it. I know. And that's when I just go back. I said, look, we either have to accept this coverage or we decline it. I'm here to protect your family. If you're not serious about that, then I'll go to somebody else that is. And kind of just expressing it to them like that was something that really, really helped me, man. Because when they would tell me they would think about it, man, I'd be like, all right, man, I'll give you my card. I'll be looking forward to your call in a week. I'd be like, man, I'll be waiting for that call too. I'd call them back. They wouldn't answer. I'd be like, man. So yeah, man, just really, really setting the structure up front, man, was really bad. It just completely changed. I mean, my in-home isn't the best. Neither am I on the phone. But like I said, just kind of being better, having proper structure, telling them that we will be making a decision today, whether it be accept or decline, and that just completely changed everything around.
Nah, man. I mean that's huge, like you said. And you're asking 10 questions. I mean, that's great. I would suggest all new agents, all agents, period. 10 questions before doing anything, because you gotta build that why. And like Grady Poston always said, those questions, that's the ammunition to load into your gun, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you're loading that into your gun, and then you're sitting the gun down in front of you, like, hey, don't make me use it, right? And then at the end, if they want to think about it, now you go ahead and you shoot them right there in the heart with the ammunition they gave you in the beginning, right? What changed since last 30 minutes when you wanted to protect the kids, for this reason, right? you know, um,
Exactly.
man,
Yeah, 100%, man. Being like that.
no, that's good. Okay, I know we got one more real quick that we're gonna take from Ishmael. So you want to know phone script? Do you use so what phone script are you using for the older leads for those internet leads?
Depending on their age, right? If they're my phone script's a little different. I mean, but it works okay for me. I've watched a lot of different phone scripts, man. I've oh my goodness, dude. I've done every phone script I could find. Obviously to find something that worked for me. I mean, Dominique Rogers is probably, I mean, he's known for his phone script, so I watched him, and it's really simple. It's just like when you're calling the internet lead, especially the old internet lead, how I try to tell them is because they've done got called a million times.
Yeah.
These internet leads, these old internet leads, they've done got called a million times. So I call them, immediately address that, so they don't be like, "Oh, I've done got called about that," and hang up. I'm like, "All right, Bob." So I'll be like, "Hello, Bob. Hey, this is Mike, Senior Benefits Office, right here near Hillsborough County. Uh, I'm sure you've gotten a million phone calls about this. I'm sure you have. Look, I'm just your local guy assigned to the request you sent in. It's just my job to make sure that we come out there and go over your different options with you. I know that this is important." Another thing that helped me, but before saying that, I'd be like, "Okay, look, I'm sure you got a million calls. Did anybody ever manage to make it out there and help you with this?" Just immediately address that up front, and it'll be like, "What? No, nobody ever came out." "Okay, perfect. Look, I'm the local guy assigned to make sure we come by and go over this information with you. It usually takes 10 to 15 minutes." And that's something that really helped me, because if I just call them, "Hey, look, this is the life insurance inquiry you sent over," hang
Yeah.
up. It's like, it don't work. For me, it don't. I mean, other people can get away with that. I just, for me, it wouldn't. I would just be like, "Look, I'm sure you got a million phone calls about this. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Even I'm calling. I hate to bother you, but this file still seems to be open. Look, we're going to be in your area tomorrow," and just kind of addressing that and asking them, "Has anybody ever helped you?" 9 times out of 10, they're going to say nobody's came out, because that's why their lead is still open. That's why you bought it, is because nobody went out there sometimes. And yeah, so I would just call them and be like, "Look, I'm just the guy that's assigned to make sure we come out and help you out with that." And that's something that's, as far as the old internet life, obviously the mortgage, and anybody can book mortgage. That's pretty simple, a new mortgage. But old mortgage is the same thing. Did anybody ever manage to help you out with this request that you sent over for the mortgage protection? And they'd be like, "No, no, nobody ever helped me out." "Okay, great." So I'm just the guy that makes sure that we do that. And then sometimes you'll be, "I'm not interested." "Perfect. Look, I'm not really interested either. I wish I wouldn't even have to do this, but unfortunately, I'm assigned to make sure we get this information out to you." It kind of like stops the phone calls. Nobody will come knocking on your door or anything like that. And we'll make sure that we completely resolve this, because I'm sure you've gotten called 100 times for this. And they'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, no, you know what? I have gotten called a bunch. So yeah, you just come on out. We'll stop these phone calls." And when you get out there, you see they don't have any coverage, you help them out with it. But yeah, that's the main thing, is just with the older leads. Obviously, the newer leads are really simple to book, but the older leads, that's something that helped me, which is immediately addressing, "Look, I know you've gotten called a bunch for this. I'm just a local guy assigned to this. Has anybody managed to come out?" "No." "Okay, perfect. That's me. I'm the guy that's supposed to come out and help you with this." And then you just proceed with booking the appointment.
Man, that's fire, man. Because again, that's something that we're doing as well. My wife kind of did some training on that a couple of weeks ago because she's been having a lot of success with that. You're taking that objection off the table for them. You beat them to the punch, right?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and I'm sure you already got a lot of calls on this. Bam! Now they can't talk about it, and now they got to hear what you got to say. So that's fire, man. So I'm hoping that everybody that's on this call took a lot of notes today because Grady Poston always says note takers are money makers, and you dropped a lot of dimes, brother. Appreciate you taking the
Yeah.
time to share, give back to our team. As far as me and Steven, anything you need, man, let us know. Anytime you need anything from us, we're here to help as well.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate it so much. I don't even know, man. It's just, the thing is, man, anybody really can do this. Like, I know everybody says that, but man, coming from, I mean, if take it for what it is, man. But just like this is, I don't even care. I'm gonna say it. This is the best opportunity of the 21st century. Like, dude, this is, you can't. I'm not a. I'm not gonna be 50K in student loan. Like, in a couple years, I'll be set for life. Like, if you just put in the work now, and that's something that, like, I tell my dad, I tell my friends, I tell everybody, I'm like, look, dude, this job, like, all you got to do is go to work. Like, you don't have to be good. You don't have to have 50K in student loans. All you got to do is reinvest in your business, dial the phones, book appointments, help families. Dude, you'll make, it's man, it's ridiculous. Even like last Sunday, I went out in like 2 days. It's like five, like I never dreamed of that. It took me like 6 months to save that before. You can go out and make that in a day. And especially somebody my age, like even if young guys are on this call, look, this is just literally the best opportunity ever. So yeah, man, I appreciate it so much for having me on this, and I hope somebody took something from this.
I'm sure they did, man. I'm sure they did. It couldn't help. Couldn't help. I see the remarks coming in. Everybody's fired up. Appreciate you again, man. To everybody here on the call, thank you guys for taking time out and getting this good information, these nuggets this morning from young Michael. We're gonna close it out right now. Again, always the Sky Point is the high point, and the marathon continues. So thank y'all for coming out. God bless. Good night.
All right, man. Thank you so much.